The Last of Us returned this week with episode 5 of season 2, and for me, this was an episode that had some really strong moments, but overall, something just felt slightly off. It opened with a great scene that laid the foundations for the episode and hinted at what was to come in the ending. There was a tension-filled moment with the stalkers in the warehouse, a chilling look at the Seraphites and their brutality, and finally a side of Ellie that I've been waiting to see. In all honesty, that final scene in B2 saved the episode for me, with an ending that teased what looks like a full flashback episode next week. I don't think I'm ready for how emotional it's going to be. So, with that said, let's dive into this week's episode and break down everything that happened. Heads up, this video contains spoilers. The opening scene. One thing The Last of Us has consistently nailed this season is its preview trailers and opening scenes. There have already been about 3 episodes this season with opening moments that perfectly set the backdrop, and this one was no different. We saw Hanrahan and Elise in a room together where Elise was being investigated for killing members of her own team, including someone named Leon, someone she referred to as the best. Elise recounted what was discovered in the basement levels of the hospital, where some of the first patients infected by cordyceps were treated in 2003. This immediately painted a haunting backdrop. Usually in this world, someone is killed if they've been bitten. But Elise shared how Leon had communicated over the radio that he hadn't been bitten. Cordyceps was now in the air. That moment hit hard. It added a whole new layer of threat. We've moved beyond clickers to stalkers, infected that are more intelligent and harder to fight. But now the infection is airborne. Spores are now a danger simply by inhalation. It ramps up the stakes immensely. Later in the episode, seeing spores in the air and the way the cordyceps consume the bodies of the team, using them to spread spores like some sort of living ecosystem, was chilling. We learned that B1 and B2 levels were sealed off, which is why Leon and his team were trapped and sentenced to death. The moment that truly hit me was when Hanrahan left the room and said, "I'm sorry about your son." That line confirmed Elise had killed her own son, Leon, to protect the wider population. It made my stomach drop. It showed the unimaginable decisions people must make in this world, sacrificing loved ones to prevent even greater loss. It was a powerful scene that set the tone for the rest of the episode and hinted at what was to come. Ellie and Dina. With Ellie and Dina, we saw more of what we've already been getting from them. Not much character development, just the two of them being blindly in love while on a revenge quest. Honestly, in the first third of the episode, I found Dina more likable than Ellie, which is a separate issue the show needs to address in Season 3. Ellie's whimsical attitude, especially when Dina was trying to stay focused, and cringy lines like "you love me," just felt out of place. It's like their mission for revenge has lost its seriousness because they've fallen for each other along the way. However, once the ending came around, the episode finally hit its stride, and I didn't want it to end. Seeing Ellie confront Nora in the hospital while trying to find supplies for Dina's injured leg was peak The Last of Us. It mirrored Abby's behavior with Joel in episode 2 and showed that the cycle of violence continues. Ellie's grief for Joel, though subtle, became apparent when she picked up the guitar and began playing "If I Ever Were to Lose You." But she stopped as a low droning sound took over, reminding her of Joel's absence. He was the one who taught her to play. It's clear that picking up the guitar is a painful reminder of him. Ellie held Nora at gunpoint, demanding to know where Abby was. When Nora fled, she ended up in B2, the level where Leon and his team died. We were told earlier that the seal to B2 had been broken, meaning spores could now potentially spread to the rest of the hospital and beyond. Cordyceps 2.0, essentially. In B2, Nora struggled to breathe. Ellie, however, was unfazed, reinforcing her immunity and her badass demeanor. She revealed to Nora that she was the girl who was immune. Nora, in return, told Ellie that Joel killed everyone in the hospital, including Abby's father, the one person who could have created a cure. Ellie responded, "I know." That line surprised me. I genuinely thought she didn't know. It also implies Joel might have confessed to her off-screen, or perhaps we'll see that in the upcoming flashback. With Nora still refusing to talk, Ellie picked up a pipe and beat her. For the first time in a while, we saw raw emotion in Ellie, her pain, her rage, her grief for Joel. That scene brought back the Ellie I've been missing, the flashback tease. The final scene was a flashback, Joel waking Ellie up while she was still living at home. He greeted her with, "Morning, kiddo." It was a beautiful, quiet moment that set up what looks to be a full flashback episode next week. I'm expecting we'll see the deterioration of Joel and Ellie's relationship, how things got to the painful point they were at before his death. We might also see Joel reveal what really happened at the hospital and possibly what he did to Eugene. I think this will be the emotional core of the season. The Seraphites. This episode gave us a deeper look at the Seraphites. Finally, right? Ellie and Dina saw a painting of the prophet, along with the words, "Feel her love." We also witnessed the Seraphites' brutal execution of a WLF member. The man was offered a chance to convert and know her love, but he refused, too late. Even when he tried to give them intel on WLF attacks, they didn't care. All they valued was loyalty to the prophet, who, as we're reminded, died for her beliefs. The execution, dangling from a tree, drawn and quartered, was horrifying. It felt more like a ritual than a killing. Early in the episode, Hanrahan mentioned that a treaty between the Scars and WLF might have been broken, possibly triggered by the attack we saw in Episode 3. It's possible there was peace for a while. I'd love to see more of the Seraphites and WLF, but with limited episodes this season, more time is understandably spent on Ellie's revenge arc. Still, I hope we see them again before the finale. Final thoughts. Like I said at the start, this episode had its moments, but also had some parts where I genuinely felt bored, which is surprising considering it was only 45 minutes long. The Ellie and Dina storyline is dragging a bit. It's gotten too romantic and lighthearted. I want the vengeful, ruthless Ellie, the one we saw with Nora. The flirty dialogue is starting to feel repetitive and out of sync with the rest of the show's tone. The Stalker warehouse scene was excellent. Well-built tension and true horror vibes. Their laugh-like noises made it feel like a horror movie. But Jesse swooping in to save the day felt too convenient. Still, it was great to see Tommy's name mentioned. I'm looking forward to seeing him again. Side note, has anyone else noticed how nobody in this show can aim? Whether it's guards firing at Ellie and Dina or Ellie firing at Nora, it just feels like guns are useless because no one ever hits anything. That's starting to get annoying. My favorite scene? Ellie and Nora in the basement. The spores in the air, the red lighting. It all felt very Stranger Things. Upside Down-esque. It perfectly mirrored the opening scene and brought the episode full circle. Ellie's emotional outburst reminded us of why she's on this mission, and it hit hard. Next week's episode looks like it could be one of the best. Seeing Pedro Pascal back as Joel was a surprise, and I think we're in for a powerful emotional story. Honestly, I think it has the potential to be as good as Episode 2. So, there you have it. A review of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 5, and the ending explained. If you want to see breakdowns of every episode from this season, check out the playlist below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. What did you think of this episode? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.